Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn, another edition of Growth Driven. I'm very excited about today because I've got Ivan Ans. If you've ever wondered how you can do real estate and investing and also be a philanthropist, which is an incredible combination, you're about to find out. Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn, another edition of Growth Driven. I am with Ivan Ans, who is an Inc. 500 entrepreneur, and he's a philanthroinvestor. And I've never heard that term before, but you're going to tell us about it. So, Ivan, thank you so much for taking your valuable time to be here on Growth Driven.
No, you're welcome. Totally, Edwin, and thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So, before we started this episode going live, you told me that you're from Argentina.
That's correct. I was born in Argentina.
Argentina colors. You're wearing the Argentina colors.
That's correct.
That's awesome. So tell me your life, where you started in Argentina in business, and then how you came here to America.
Well, I actually am an entrepreneur since I am 7 years old. So my first business was actually leasing my go-kart to kids when I was 7 and sell them candy. So I will go and buy candy for 10 cents and I will sell them for 20 cents.
Wow. So you're just like people flip homes. You were flipping candy.
Yes. I was flipping candy. And the interesting part of it is that, I already was born growth driven.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yes. And so my whole focus was from the day number one was I need to start creating companies. I like to create companies that will actually in somehow serve other people. And so I started with the go-kart, and then I went into the radio and marketing. I had a radio show when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
And yes, and then I created a 4x4 training company when I was 16 years old. And I was started involving more in the car business. When I was around 23, with my family, we opened the first Toyota dealership for our family in Argentina that, started with 7 employees, and now we have 100 plus. And and so I learned a lot about the Toyota culture. I fly to Japan, a few times, and I fall in love with the culture of two main cultures, which is the constant improvement of systems in the company and processes instead of actually, basically instead of actually blaming people for things that don't go well in the company, you actually put systems and see where the systems are failing. And the other most important part of the Toyota culture, which is the respect for people. But the respect for people, not in the sense of being nice and being kind, the respect for people on allowing them to create in the organization and not being a cover or a top, or basically being just making them wrong in what they see they want to do in the organization, right? So that actually is what have allowed me to be a serial entrepreneur, basically, with my multiple companies that I actually founded and own right now in different countries of the world, because I actually apply the respect for people well, in the sense of knowing that person, it can be better than me, that person has perceptions that are different than my perceptions, that person has perceptions that are even, why not, more better than my ones.
Love that. And here's my takeaway, if I can just kind of recap what you said. And you bring up some things that prior guests have brought up, I've talked about, that are so important. You bring up culture. Companies that create culture, it's almost like it's the soil in which great people and great ideas can take place. Number 2, you talk about processes built around people that they can follow and apply. I think so many small business people, but you've really gravitated towards it well, which is how do we develop processes from that culture? Correct. And then number 3, you allow the brilliance of your team members to flourish and be applied versus having an ego and no, all good ideas can only come from me. You really share, allowing people to co-create the company.
Yes, and that's how I apply the Toyota principle of respect for people. Because it's much more deep, It's not just when you hear respect for people, well, what do you understand by respect for people? You see?
Yes.
It has levels. Okay, respect for people is opening the door, right? And when they actually come in or actually, serving them well and treat them well, that's a level. Now, if we go beyond that, it's allowing their brilliance to actually what you just said, to expand the organization. And don't be the cover, for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you've embraced that. And I think that's something that people could study is like you were exposed to the Toyota culture and obviously look at their success as a company, right after World War II, they had to start from rubbles. They had to start from nothing. And now they're one of the greatest companies in the world, which is the power of culture and systems. So you come to America. How long ago did you come to America?
I started coming in 2010, and let me share with you a story.
Okay.
In 2009, I made a big mistake. I recommend people to don't do it. I got involved in the yes, I actually got involved in the speculative investment world. But I got involved in the speculative investment world without knowledge and without risk management. So one thing is that you go and you actually, assign a small percentage of your liquid portfolio towards stocks, towards cryptocurrency, towards foreign exchange and things like that. But you do it with knowledge and you do it with understanding and you do it with risk management. But I made a big mistake. I got involved in that just for the sense of, the impulsive investor, the impulsive investor and the guy that goes with the viewpoint of gambling.
Yes.
With the viewpoint of, I will double my money in 24 hours, with the viewpoint of I will double my money in 1 month.
Yep.
So that viewpoint is what I did. And I actually got, very, very deeply stressed because of that. And I was creating my companies as an entrepreneur. And what I got was, hey, now I'm making a lot of money. I have the CEO that is running the Toyota dealership and this other business. Now what I do with my money? I need to invest the money to make it grow. So I took 100% of that money that I made and I put it in no risk management, investor impulsive methods of investing.
Yep.
And then not only, I invested like 38,000 and then I actually converted in 250,000 in a few months, in like 6 months or so. But then it went down to zero in like 3 weeks.
It's crazy.
Yeah, because I wanted to be an impulsive investor and converted to $1 million. And then I started not only realizing that I was not happy with that, I was just behind the computer seeing numbers. And I didn't even study and learn about the artificial intelligence algorithms that can actually be doing that with risk management and me living the life that I want to live. You see, like I just went all in and I just, even have a friend and I say, my friend told me, yes, I will actually manage this for you a little bit, whatever. And I went like 100% on trusting these guys without having any knowledge myself. And it was a big mistake. Every time I try to do that, it's a big mistake.
Absolutely. You bring up a great point, which is also covered in the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, which is go with people that have experience and invest in what you know. And you bring up a good point, which is increase your knowledge, increase your competency before you spend your money, because in that journey through knowledge, you may discover A, that it's not the right way to do it, or B, you found the right way versus the wrong way.
Correct. That's exactly the point that I'm trying to bring, Edwin. And you know what? The key point here is that take full responsibility for the knowledge, right? And of increasing your knowledge. And, set, if you are going to decide to put in a small percentage, which I will say no more than 5% of your liquid portfolio should go into that type of investments. And then do it with risk management. And study and get the knowledge yourself, so you are not blaming other people in the future, because blaming others, if you lose the money, is the lower level that you can go in life, right?
Yes. No money and you're blaming others.
Yes, exactly. So basically, because of that experience, Edwin, I actually start seeking myself. It should be a way that I can grow my capital while at the same time I am receiving fulfillment in life. It must be a way that exists out there. And I start looking, and I had a private neighbor that I actually created in 2007, and it was not doing well, it was just, also I was just selling lots, and receiving the money, and selling a lot and receiving the money, but it was not selling the lots at the speed that I wanted. So it's just one lot each 3-4 months, something like that. And I was not either happy with that. So one day I am in my car with a guy that called me to see the lots, and his name is Andres. And he was with his family, his kids, in the back of my car. And the kids start saying, "Daddy, daddy, daddy, we want to live here. Daddy, 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 we want to live here." And then the guy comes out of the car to talk to me and say, "Ivan, I cannot afford this lot. It's a $50,000 lot. I make $1,500 a month. That's what I make in Argentina, like $1,500 a month." And then I say, "Okay, and your kids love the lot, but you cannot acquire it." "Okay, I understand that. So let me actually, let me think about this." And I go to my home and so on, and I was in the shower. And when I was in the shower, I actually received this realization, and this word, PhilanthroInvestor, comes to me. Kind of was like a God revelation, right? So,
this heavenly epiphany.
Yes, exactly. And then I say, I have an idea. I will call the guy. Okay, I call the guy and say, "Andres, how much money you can actually get from a bank?" I say. I first asked this question. And he says, "Well, I don't qualify for a bank." And I say, "Well, how much money you can give me up front?" And he says, "Ivan, I live paycheck to paycheck." So I was just going deep to arrive to my idea. And I say, "Well, how much money you can pay per month to own this lot?" And he says, "Well, if I were to be able to afford, I think I can afford $300 or $400 a month." And I say, "Well, you know what? The lot is yours."
Wow.
Like literally like that. "The lot is yours." And he says, "How? Why? How?" "Okay, just meet me. Just give me a favor. Meet me on Saturday. Bring a tree. Okay, please bring a tree to just a small tree that you buy for $1.
Yep.
Bring a tree and come with your kids." And then "But how? You just come." And he comes on Saturday, and I say, "Okay, Andres, this lot is yours. This is the documents. You will start paying $300 a month from next month. This is your lot, and you will pay from 15 years the $300 a month until you cover the 50,000. Yep. And not only that, but you need to plant a tree with your family, and you need to cut a green ribbon between 2 torches, and to celebrate this." And so they did it. And when I see the grin on their faces, on that moment, it just hit my heart. And I say, "You know what? This is what I need to do in my life. I need to actually help people. Do otherwise, they will not be able to receive." But this was the key thing. I start to realize that many people in the world, Edwin, were involved in speculative investments, and they were losing their life. They were actually not only losing their money, but yelling to their kids because they lose their money. Divorces because they lose their money in the markets. Even suicides because they lose the money in the markets.
Yeah.
And that's how all this epiphany came in the shower. And I started by helping this family with their lot.
That I just want to acknowledge something, Ivan. That is so beautiful. That is so what this world needs, is that type of humanity. I believe that really is the ultimate purpose of capitalism, that we take the capital that we make and we turn it back and reinvest it into people, into resources that help people, into programs that help people. And you're right. You brought up something about how these financial disasters bring about human calamity. I was reading an article that, I don't know, it was from a marriage counselor or whatever, that 90% of all divorces are because of financial hardship and stress.
Yeah.
And how many people turn to drugs and alcohol because they lose their money and they don't see a way out. So to turn off the pain, they turn to drugs and alcohol to turn off the pain. So here you are coming and going, you know what, we're going to set up a program. So tell me more in present time, in the current moment, how do you move this PhilanthroInvestor program forward?
Okay, so when that happened, I sit with my wife and we actually share this conversation that she had the idea that, Ivan, this movement of PhilanthroInvestor, that this program that you start creating here in Argentina, you should actually move it to the US. You should create it from the US, because anything that the US creates, made in the US, it is copied by the world.
Wow. Your wife is very smart.
Yes. That's what she said. And well, we start coming to the US in 2010 and start going to real estate seminars. The first real estate seminar that I did was with Robert Kiyosaki in Scottsdale, Arizona in 2010. And then I went to another one in San Diego with another real estate people. And then I went to another one in Tampa, and like that. And I was looking how to apply this concept of helping families own their home while you grow your capital. And I arrived to the creation between putting a lot of pieces together, and I launched the what I call the Housing Philanthroinvesting program in 2014 with my company Equity and Help.com.
And there you go. There's the website. Thank you for mentioning that. If you're just joining us here on Growth Driven, or you tuned in late or will tune in late after this becomes a podcast or a video on YouTube, I'm with Ivan Anz, A-N-Z. You can find him on LinkedIn. But also, I'm posting here and will post afterwards into the video and the podcast his link of equityandhelp.com. And they can go to that website. I take it, Ivan, and learn more about what you do and how you offer it and the opportunities.
Exactly. Yes, they can totally. If someone, we have in the housing philanthropy investing world, we have a qualification process, because not everybody is a philanthropy investor. Many people are investors, but not philanthropy investors. And yeah, so it has that possibility of you schedule a discovery call, 15 minutes, with one of our housing philanthropy investing consultants, and it will allow you to learn more, to see if you qualify, and so on. And yeah, so that's on Equity and Help, the creation, what's going on today. The short summary of it is, it became an Inc. 500 company in 2018. We made it again in 2019, and we are almost there to be able to announce that we have made it again for third year in a row. So I am almost there to be able to, yes.
Congratulations. I mean, that in itself is an incredible testament to your purpose and your vision.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. And yeah, so what happened at the end of 2019 is that I had another epiphany. And the epiphany was
Epiphany number 2.
Epiphany number 2. And the epiphany number 2 was the PhilanthroInvestor brand. It was not born just to help families live in their own homes. It was not born just to solve the housing issues of the planet. It just wasn't. So it was born to solve many other areas of the planet that right now have problems in it. So if you allow me to share a short video, or I can share with you, just talking with you, whatever you decide.
Yeah, I don't know if I can bring the video on, but why don't you just, I'll add the link to that video. Is it on equityandhelp.com?
No, because this was the epiphany. The epiphany was that I needed to create a company, which is a different company, and it's called PhilanthroInvestors. That's the name of the company.
Okay, all right.
And in philanthroinvestors.com. And actually I realized I started looking for different places that where the PhilanthroInvestor brand can help more people and more areas in the humanity. So I started doing my research. And you know what I find out in my research, Edwin?
Yes.
I find out that there is certain what I call essentials for living. And the essential for livings, or the pyramid of essentials for living, are number 1, air. Number 2, water. Number 3, food. Number 4, clothing. Number 5, shelter, right? Or number 4, shelter, number 5, clothing. And then we go to education. And we go to the other issues that this planet has. And I start researching more and more. And the relation between human beings and the animals of these planets and the plants. And what about the beings that create the most enjoyment for other human beings in this planet, which name themselves, and I call them the more valuable beings in the planet, which are the beings that are able to create a spiritual enjoyment for others. And I call them artists. What about what is happening with the artists in the planet? And so I started researching more and more, and I discovered that in air, what's happening with the air? 8% of the population in this planet, only 8%, live in places of good air quality. And you can go right now to Siri in your iPhone and you can say, Siri, what's the air quality in this city? And what's the air quality in this other city? And you will start to learn about what is happening with the air. And then what is happening with the water? 6,000 children die every single day of water-related diseases.
Wow.
80% of the water in the planet, it gets released untreated. And the US only recycles 1% of all the water.
It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, Ivan, I'll tell you something. My hope is that leaders down the road watch my video, find your website or both or either, and join you, because this is, I mean, more than ever, this is exactly what we need business leaders doing, is what you're doing. And I can see that. And we know that the vast majority of people on this planet are social personalities. They want good things to happen. Yes. You know, we know there's a certain percentage that are crazy, psychotic, and sociopath, but the majority of the people want good things like this to happen. And that's why I do this show, is to help good people like you to expose themselves to even more people. And maybe I can play my little bitty part in starting that wave of change.
Correct. That's totally correct. So what I actually realized on this movement was I started researching more and more in different areas, and I find out, oh my gosh, 8 million tons of plastic are going to the oceans every single year. And in the last 5 years, like 75% of people that we surveyed, that went through surveys, 75% of people actually testified that in the last 5 years had committed littering themselves.
Yep.
So it's just an education. And then 1 billion people are illiterates on the planet. So basically what I did, I say, okay, that's it. I need to find one strong company first in each different of these areas in the planet. And you will see this in philanthroinvestors.com. Similar to what Equity and Help is doing for housing, we have originclear.com, which is a company that is doing water philanthropy investing and allow philanthropy investors to improve the water quality for the planet.
Brilliant.
And so on. And we have that, the vision of philanthropy investors is one company per industry in the world to shift the world into a more positive direction.
I love that. So you kind of take, so really PhilanthroInvestors is kind of this umbrella organization, and then it breaks down the problems into silos or activities or sectors of interest of humanity. Yes. And they go, okay, what is the company that will follow our model, but they're focused in that niche, that specific problem of humanity?
Yes, that's totally correct.
That's brilliant. So now let's say somebody's got a solution for one of those problems that, let's just postulate that someone out there hears this and goes, oh, I've got a solution for literacy, or I've got a solution for plastic. They would come to you and they could work with you to kind of develop that as a business plan with your help.
Yes. And we actually will advise them. We will give them systems. We will give them the successful systems that we have applied in Equity and Help to make it an Inc. 500 company. We will actually set them up in order to receive money from philanthropy investors, from people that is looking to improve the world and so on. So, for example, this is the perfect story. Yesterday, a company contacted me, and we're in communication already, and they say, we have the technology, the team, and everything in order to actually plant millions of trees in areas that need trees. And a philanthropy investor can plant one tree with 10 cents. So he actually philanthropy invests 10 cents, and he will get a return through the whole platform and so on. So just to give you an example, we have another company that we are also in conversations that actually have a technology to actually decrease the tons of littering that is going to the ocean, rewarding the people that is doing, and rewarding, of course, the philanthropy investors that support the company growth. And so it's absolutely amazing, and we are very passionate about it. So I will say, if you come to philanthroinvestors.com, if you already know that you want to help the world through housing, that you actually have a lot of affinity for houses, for families, you just go straight equityandhelp.com and you just get on board with them. If you feel like, hey, I want to find out in which areas I want to see, I want to put a percentage for housing philanthropy investing, but another percentage for water and another percentage for air, and I want to kind of build a philanthropy investing portfolio, then you go to philanthroinvestors.com, and Miss Bendy Rios, who is our expansion vice president, will get with you, give you a whole presentation, actually help you figure out that philanthropy investing portfolio with you. And of course, you make the final decisions always. We just give you the education.
I love that. So I'm going to make a suggestion, which I rarely do, but you need to take this message to a TED Talk.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why, because, TED Talks are internationally known.
Okay.
They're usually breakthrough ideas, which yours is. Can capitalism actually be used to improve the planet? Let me tell you my idea. Let me tell you the epiphany I had. I think that also just by being on that platform, it then raises your own personal brand of, please welcome Ivan Ann's TED Talk speaker, right? It's like being a Fortune 500 entrepreneur. It's like being a Wall Street Journal best-selling author. It's got that brand recognition. But I really think that you should have somebody on your team work on getting you on a TED Talk.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Because I believe you've got a TED Talk worthy message to tell the world, right? Is that capitalism can have humanity. and capitalism is under attack these days. So if we can say, look, there's a humanity side, and I've developed it, I think that would be a much needed message. So tell me about some of the future. Is there anything that you can tell me that you plan on doing in the future? You've kind of alluded to that. Is there any specific project in the future you're working on that you're really excited about?
Yes, actually, we are. This is not just growth driven, Edwin. This is growth driven with the heart, and that's the core of PhilanthroInvestors. It's growth driven with the heart, and basically taking not only responsibility for yourself and thinking about yourself, but thinking about others and how you actually and what your money does for others, and how to intelligently utilize that resources so we can improve many areas on the world. Because something that I am very excited about is something that they call the law of betterment. And that law of betterment means that if the life of another country improves, our country will improve. If your neighbor life improves, your life will improve. If your spouse is in a better condition in life, your life will be in a better condition. It's just a natural law. It's a natural law of betterment, as it is a natural law of giving back, which shows you every time where billionaires donate billions of dollars, right? And the universe gives them even more.
Exactly.
So the future for PhilanthroInvestors, and I am very excited, is seeing how we are going to be more strong in equity and health. We are going to go to another level now, that COVID is passing and we are helping a lot of families and so on. Equity and health will go to another level in housing philanthropy investing in the next year or so, with the ability to help much more philanthropy investors. We are working in a lot of software development there. Our CTO is working a lot of software development for the company. And then we'll make the operation much more smooth. And on another side, we have Origin Clear, which is a water philanthropy investing company, which we are actually working towards taking the company to NASDAQ and making the company be a super strong company. The same thing that Tesla did to the cars industry, the same thing that Amazon did to the books industry, is what Origin Clear is going to be doing to the water industry.
Awesome.
So that's actually the things that are exciting us the most for the from here to the next few years.
That's awesome. I'm going to tell you, I've truly been inspired by this episode of Growth Driven. I think that I was meant to interview you because that's really the type of person that I wanted on this show, was someone that stood for change. And not just stood for change mentally and spiritually, but actually took action, actually was deploying people, resources, programs, plans, technology, solutions, and putting it into place. So look, if you have been on this show listening, first of all, thank you. Thank you so much for supporting Growth Driven. Thank you so much for participating in Growth Driven. This is why I do this. I want you to go to philanthroinvestors.com. I'm posting it here below here on the video. I'm also going to be adding the link to my YouTube video and to my podcast when the show ends, so you'll be able to find it. And if you forget the name of the link, or you can't find the link, just look up Ivan Ans on LinkedIn, send out a message, send out an invitation, connect with him, get that presentation. And if you're a big thinker like Ivan is, I think you guys would team up and do well. So Ivan, before we end off, is there one last message or communication that you would like to tell everybody?
Yes, that if you are going to grow your capital, first of all, don't do it for the sake or for the goal of having another luxury car, or a bigger home, or another extra home, and or 50 different watches of different 50 brands, or 50 different purses of shoes, or a plane or a yacht. That's not the path to walk towards actually really deep happiness in your life. It's very good if you can actually set a small percentage. You can have a small percentage for grow your money on the markets and so on with risk management, but grow your money with the sake of improving other people's lives and receive the fulfillment of philanthropy investing. That's all.
I love that message. What a great message to end off on. Ivan, thank you so much for being on here. Maybe next year when things grow, you can give us an update. You can come back to Growth Driven and tell us about some of the exciting things that have occurred since we last spoken. If you're listening to this, go to his website, see if you qualify if you are an investor and you really give a you-know-what about mankind and about this planet, get involved, connect up with him, see how you can help, see how you can use your dollars, your pounds, your yen, whatever you invest in to actually help mankind. So Ivan, thanks again for being on Growth Driven, and best of luck to you, really.
Thank you for having me, Edwin. It was a pleasure.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.